Hey, welcome back to the Fred Minnick Show. Fred here. I have my very first Miss America interview. I have never in my career interviewed a Miss America. I've interviewed foreign presidents, dignitaries, the most powerful people in the world, billionaires, celebrities, and this is my first Miss America. And, there's something like otherworldly about, a Miss America because they literally wear the crown of our country. And Nia Imani Franklin is one of the boldest, strongest, coolest personalities I've ever came across. Now, I actually met her in person prior to the pandemic at a USO function in Washington, D.C. And how cool was it that we spent a good amount of time talking about bourbon and spirits. And she of all the pageant queens there, there was like Miss Maryland, Miss DC, Miss Tennessee. There was all these other states. She was by far the coolest, and she was the coolest not necessarily because of her crown, but she was so personal, and I think that comes across in the interview. And we have a great tasting. I sent her some Basil Hayden, a 10-year-old. I sent her some Laubade, some Armagnac from 1978, my birth year. And oh my gosh, this stuff is so good. And I sent her some Damoiseau, some Guadeloupe rum, and from the world of agricole. So I am very excited to taste these and talk about these with our guest. Nia Imani Franklin talks and opens up about what it's like to be in the pageant business and what that whole world's like and what she's doing now, because she's more than just someone going around championing Miss America. She is actually a composer. She's a musician. And so that is what we're here to talk about, what's going on in her life. So enjoy this week's episode. But first, a word from our sponsors.
The Fred Minnick Show is brought to you by 291 Colorado Whiskey, by Michter's, by Heaven Hill Brands, and DraftKings. Enter Fred at DraftKings.com for a chance at millions of dollars in prizes with first deposit.
And joining the Fred Minnick Show, someone I met pre-COVID at a USO banquet. It was just awesome. Miss America, or I guess do I have to call you former Miss America, or can I still call you Miss America?
You can
Nia Imani Franklin.
I like to say Nia, Franklin or whatever, Miss America 2019, because
Okay.
that was the year that I was, and you're always they call them forever Miss Americas once you've passed on the crown.
Right, and the thing is, you were Miss America of the last year of normalcy.
Yeah. Before the end of an era.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, can't things were so different prior to COVID, and I can't even. I mean, I remember meeting you. That was such a great night, and that was that was life then. Big packed room events all the time, and
Yeah, it was.
It's so different. Yeah. So what have you been up to? I know you're composing some stuff. You got an EP out. Tell us. I mean, you've been busy.
It was a fun summer. 2021 was a summer that none of us expected, but we carried on and we made it work, and it was a fun summer. So I spent the summer recording a lot of new music for my EP that just came out on Friday, called Extended. So it's my debut EP, and that was a lot of fun recording that. I worked with the Recollective Orchestra, who's worked with Hans Zimmer and worked on Lion King. So they were a lot of fun to work with. And then, I was just recording the orchestra stuff, but also I'm a singer and a songwriter. So I was writing and recording vocals as well, which was a lot of fun. And then also I was the composer in residence at Festival Napa Valley, which I'm the second one ever to do it.
Wow.
But it was a lot of fun being the composer in residence. They were just Napa is just a really special place and really special people. And so basically it's a wine festival. So similar to kind of what you do,
Sure.
You know all about this kind of stuff, but it's kind of like a wine festival, but music is like the center of everything. but mostly it's a music festival, and they just have wine at all their events, because how do you not have wine when you're in Napa, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was able to perform several times, and Jennifer Hudson was on the bill too, so I was in really good company.
Yeah.
And yeah, just premiered a lot of my new music there as well. So it's been a fun summer, and now I'm really excited to see what the fall holds now that my project's out.
And are you able to go? Are you able to get out more? And greet fans now, or is it things still a little closed off?
Things are still a little closed off because, of course, we want to be safe. And, I'm
Hmm.
working with my team now to hopefully plan a tour, even if we just do something small on a small scale. But I definitely want to get out there and start performing again. A lot of artists are doing this. So it seems like the trend is just, be vaccinated and get out here and put on some good shows. I'm going to some shows. I'm attending several operas this season as a spectator. One day I'll be maybe singing up there too, but just really excited to be out there again and hear live music for sure. Because it was really lonely and weird not being able to
Yeah.
go to any live shows during the year of 2020.
Now you
So,
mentioned opera. Does singing opera take a different mindset? Like, take us to put us in the mind of a singer. Like,
yeah.
how do you prepare for opera versus some of the more poppy, jazzy styles?
So I think with opera, it's all about those warm ups. Like, you definitely want to make sure you're warming up, because it's just the simple fact that the range when you're singing opera can be so expansive. So a lot of times in pop music, you may have those really belty notes, but a lot of the song you're only singing like in a more of a chill way in pop
Hmm.
music. Whereas opera, every single note you sing is very, very important. And not important in the sense of like for the listener more so than you as a singer. Just have to make sure every single note is flows within the piece. And if you're going to go from a low to a high note, sometimes you have to sing the low note with that high note in mind, and it has to be a certain spacing in your mouth that you create to make sure it's going to be a seamless process. And it's just really an art.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I have no musical talents whatsoever. My talent is sipping spirits and bourbon and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's my talent. So
Yeah.
I sent you a wide range of stuff. So I sent you
Yeah.
um, the Dominue. The This is a actually I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. It's a French. It's a Martinique rum. It's an
Okay.
XO, and it is absolutely delicious. But this is a rum that is more than 6 years old. I sent you a Basil Hayden,
Yeah.
a Basil Hayden 10-year-old. This is going to be a little lighter, and then I sent to the headliner of the tasting. I sent a an Armagnac from 1978.
Okay.
1978 Armagnac. And
Nice.
that was the year I was born. So that was
Cool.
yeah, kind of a celebratory bottle. And then
Yeah.
as gifts, I sent you a bottle of 291,
Oh, thank
and
you.
then a bottle of Michter's. So I think I am more concerned about like getting in trouble for you having too much, because anytime I have singers on, like I have
Yeah.
guitarists on, football players, but I'm always very nervous about singers,
Yeah.
because I'll get a text later like, yeah, those 7 bourbons that we had, yeah, I can't sing tonight, so
Oh,
so I'll be
yeah.
very cautious with you, because
Okay.
I don't want to get in trouble for you not being able to sing tonight or tomorrow. But some people say that spirits is actually good for the throat. And what I've learned
Yeah.
is like everybody has their own procedure for keeping their throat in check and their vocal cords. What's your technique? How do you keep your vocals strong and ready to go all the time?
Yeah, I mean, specifically when I'm singing opera, very specifically, I try to stay away from all alcohol leading up to the
Mm.
performance. So if I have a show on like a Friday, at least a week before I want to like not be drinking like at all, even like a glass of wine. I try to stay away from it just because I think alcohol can be a little dehydrating. And when you're singing, like you just need all the hydration in the world. But if I'm singing R&B or something like that, you kind of sometimes want that little raspiness in your voice. So I think it's not as big of a deal. So it's just kind of a case by case basis. But I love my hot tea and honey.
Yeah, honey's really good.
Yeah, and Luden's like throat drops that you buy in CVS. The cherry ones are just like those are my go-to if I'm like feeling like, ooh, I need some lubrication, or like I wake up and I feel a little like tickle in my throat or whatever. Those are like so soothing, and it might just be more of a mental thing, but they also taste like candy. So they're just like so fun to have, and it's just like just one of my things like that I feel like I need when I have a performance.
And do you when you're singing, are you singing only, or will you play a piano? Or I mean, obviously opera, you're not playing anything.
Opera. With opera, I think you just have to focus on the voice. But yeah, when I'm singing R&B, I'll play the keys and that sort of thing. I've been playing piano since I was very young, so that's like kind of what I learned by ear and all those sorts of things. Yeah.
Okay, so I think let's go. Let's start with the rum, and I want you to think about, as we're tasting this. Let's have some fun with it.
Okay.
Let's think about a song that you would have you'd play a piano with. So like
Okay.
when I think of piano songs, I just always go to Elton John. Because he's always got so many piano songs, but. A song that you like to play with the piano, like when you taste this, what does it remind you of? So, let's start with the rum.
XO. What does the X stand for? Is that like part of their name?
Yeah, so that's always me. XO is always like part of like extra aged. So that's like the highest premium of a category, and it is. It's really prevalent in like French spirits.
Okay.
And like in cognac, you'll see it. So that's kind of really where it originates. But it just essentially means extra old.
Yeah.
Real fancy there.
So I'm gonna have to go. You said a song, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go with a classic. For my generation, I feel like, at least. It was Alicia Keys. It was her first hit, I believe, which was Fallen.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Great
I think the whole song is 2 chords, which is crazy that such a masterpiece like that has 2 chords.
So I didn't know that. So that me being illiterate in music, like I don't know chords. I just like, oh man, I like that song,
Oh, yeah.
So it's, but Alicia Keys, so talented,
She is, incredible, and just she's had such a long career, like such longevity in her career, which is very important. Something I can learn from.
Well, goodness gracious, you're just beginning. You're just beginning. So this is to see you, Miss America. You're always going to have that, but you're not just going to be Miss America. You know what I mean? You are. Your star is so bright. You've got so many things to accomplish, and
thank you.
And I'm excited for this. I remember talking to you, in Washington D.C. about what I did, and all the other contestants or all the other people were kind of like, oh yeah, that's kind of boring. That sounds awful. And then you were like asking me questions, and you're like, "Why do you hate vodka?" And it was so cool for me because I was getting to talk to someone who appreciated around people who didn't. And that's always fun. So this rum, rum comes from sugarcane. It comes from a byproduct of sugarcane molasses.
Okay. Can I see the bottle? I'm like such a bottle. I love to see bottles.
And this is actually a style of rum. It's always spelled R. It's usually spelled RHUM, but you can see they're rebels and they go with RUM. But this is a style of rum called from rum agricole. It's from Guadeloupe. I think
Hmm.
previously I said Martinique, but it's from Guadeloupe, and they distill fresh sugarcane juice. And so
Wow.
most people are distilling molasses, which is a byproduct of making sugar.
Hmm.
They are distilling fresh sugarcane juice, and it's aged for 6 years in the French West Indies.
French West Indies. That's my boyfriend is from he's half Guyanese. So
Oh, awesome! Oh,
yeah.
is he a rum fan?
He likes whiskey actually. So,
Oh.
he'll probably be helping me out with this a little later.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
And it's best to share good drink with people you care about, friends, and
Yeah.
I drink with my best friend all the time, who's my wife, and she is such a whiskey head. The only problem is though, when I travel, sometimes she'll finish a bottle without me. So,
Mm.
you know, got to be careful. You get them into it, and then you'll sip all yourself. So, what are you normally
Yeah.
drinking? What do you normally drink when you're just kind of hanging out?
Hanging out. I love to make, well, you're gonna hate this answer, but I love to make lemon drops.
Oh,
I
okay.
got I feel like that became one of my specialties during the pandemic.
All right on.
Um,
It actually sounds, very refreshing. So,
it is, and I love like Sour Patch Kids and like
mhm.
tart stuff, like key lime pie, So I love that tart, that citrus tart flavor, and then I also like with the same, citrusy, taste that I like. I like a good margarita, and I learned how to make those pretty well too during the pandemic.
Oh man, there's
You
nothing.
gotta have Montreal. Is that how you say
There's
it?
nothing like a good margarita. Mm,
Yep.
I
Yep.
love a margarita. In fact, you would. I have. You know, we drink a lot of margaritas, but my favorite tequila cocktail is a Paloma. Um,
Yep. Do you like
it's
them with the smoky tequila? What is it called?
mezcal.
Mezcal. Do you like that, or do you prefer just tequila?
I do. I do like it with mezcal, but I don't like it to be over smoked. But
Yes. Yeah.
but I like the grapefruit. I'm a big grapefruit fan, and
Mm.
so I'm a big fan of a cocktail called the Brown Derby.
Mm.
That uses grapefruit and bourbon, and
That
honey.
sounds good. I like grapefruit too. And the
And
honey? Oh wait, I'm gonna have to try that out.
yeah, I'll send you my recipe after this.
Okay. Thank you.
So what do you? I remember watching an interview with you, with after you had won Miss America, and you won, and there was all of this controversy going on with Trump and everything like that. And the first question you get asked is like, it's not like a hey, congratulations. It's like, oh, by the way, you gotta, how do you feel about all the controversy going on, and how do you aim to feel? It's like, I was like, man, that's a horrible question to ask her. And
Right?
you got up on that podium, and you said, not to sound cocky, but you're looking at the answer right here. I was just like, mic drop. She is cool. And that was before I
Yeah.
met you, and it was just so cool. I mean, it was like one of those moments of like, if everybody listening or watching, check out her like interview after she won.
The press
It's
conference.
at the
Yeah.
press conference. It was like one of those moments that you cannot script, you can't make up. And I was curious, did you prepare for that? Were you ready for that, or was that an instantaneous kind of moment of like, I'm about to show you?
It was totally, totally unprepared. Like I that was obviously that time period in the history of the Miss America organization was there was controversy. I feel like there's always controversy with pageantry in general because people are like, why do you do pageants? And there's just all these questions and people who don't understand the culture because pageantry is truly a culture, like a
Hmm.
subculture, if you want to label it that. And so getting that question after, just realizing all the things that I had been through to even be standing right there from
Hmm.
competing. That was my third year of competing and trying to win Miss America. And that was the first time that I had actually made it that far, right? Like as a state title holder, I competed 3 or 4 times as a local contestant and then 3 times just to win a state title. So when I finally got there, I was like, I feel like I know this organization, I love this organization, and I can make a difference. And I feel like that's what the judges saw as well. So that was what kind of made me say that you're looking at her
Wow.
at the answer. And I feel like during my year, I really did try to embrace the 2.0 era of Miss America, the modern Miss America. I even just recently wrote a song and performed it at the 100th anniversary gala that was called Hello Miss America. And it's my own take on, what is Miss America now? Like she is a person who inspires people. She's not a person who needs to be empowered, but she already has power. And obviously there's the old song, There She Is Miss America. I think Dick's Sporting Goods recently used it in a commercial with all these athletes. I don't know if you've seen it. So it's an iconic song, but it was also written, I think, in like the 1950s. So I really wanted to write something that could speak to our generation of Miss America. And I'm really hoping that they use it when they crown the next Miss America, because I put my heart into that song, and I really love the organization. So, and I stand by that answer from that night.
That's awesome. And in all honesty, it was, and I know Miss America doesn't get covered like, the Super Bowl or something, but it gets covered pretty significantly. Yeah. And I just thought that was one of the best, one of the strongest answers I'd ever seen from someone, no matter what it was. Now,
thank you.
Now, when you're looking at like what's the expectation, do they bring you in a room and say you have to check all these boxes, you have to do this, and this? I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, so basically after I won, they bring you to a room and they just ask you a bunch of questions, just like to get to know you really quickly and make sure there's nothing they need to, just steer you away from answering, that sort of thing. But it's just, you just really hit the ground running. I mean, I don't even think I had true press training.
Okay.
Like true press training. Like we did a little bit of stuff at orientation, but I don't really think there's anything that can prepare you for the moment of winning. Like everybody's moment and everybody's thought process and even how you see different girls react when they win is so different.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the time you get on the stage, I imagine they have already been through all your tweets, done the backgrounds on you, and
yeah.
Do they have like actual investigators looking into you, or is it just like a cursory kind of like look?
I mean, the security team definitely, they know how to do some background checks. Wow. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. Not sure if they do them, but I don't know. I might not. I wouldn't be surprised.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, so basically, what you're saying is, don't mess with the Miss America organization. They got people.
Yeah, they have a good team behind them. So.
That's awesome.
I always felt safe, protected. So.
Well, Lord knows there's a bunch of weirdos in the world, and you all definitely need to have that firm security.
Yes.
For sure. The next one we're going to go to is Basil Hayden's, or as some would say, Basil Hayden. Now, there is an actual discussion as to how to pronounce this, and I think back in the day they said Basil. But Basil just feels more modern to me. It feels like how we would say it today. But Basil is at the end of the day, it's bourbon.
Ooh, I need to see if I can open it. What these little things remind me of? It reminds me of when I was in college, and in college you're drinking whatever you can find, whatever's affordable. And we had these little things you could get at like the gas station or whatever, and it was a brand called Bootleggers.
Oh, yeah, I know that brand. Yeah.
But they tasted like Jolly Ranchers, and I my palate is evolving. I'll say that. So anything sweet, I'm like, pour it up.
Love it. And so this is a 10-year-old 80 proof bourbon from Jim Beam.
Okay, so this one should be it's going to be more intense.
Yeah, this one's going to be, well, it's 80 proof, so I think it will vary. This is going to be a stylistic difference. So like bourbon is coming from corn. It's going into new charred oak barrel. It tends to be sweet, but is it as sweet as what you just had?
Okay.
Probably not.
Oh, yeah. It feels like it is a little sweeter to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's definitely got some sweetness to it. But Basil Hayden is one of those products that you can really this is one of those, it's a great starter bourbon. So this is one that would get you hooked, and people who are fans of this one live by it,
Yeah.
It's a big time. It's got a huge fan base.
Okay.
So what song does this remind you of?
I have to take one more sip. And we're still thinking piano songs.
Well, I mean, I love piano. You play it, so I'll say yeah. We'll say yeah. We'll keep it in the piano.
Something I would sing with the piano with this. Maybe one of my own songs. It's called Runnin', and it's just like a very slow, kind of another like, not necessarily Alicia Keys vibe, but almost a jazzy vibe. It's so the arrangement that I wrote and produced, it has piano, upright bass, and drum set, but like the brushes that kind of go on the snare makes that like really like, I don't know, it just gives you that feeling of like vibration. So yeah, it's a very simple orchestration. And then I also had put some a Rhodes keyboard in there, which is that electric kind of piano sound, just really sparkles. But it's a slow like song that's all about how you just run back to this person over and over again. You break up, you get back together. You break up, you get back together. So yeah, that reminds me of that.
So this is a bad boyfriend, is what you're saying?
Yes.
So Basil Hayden tastes like the experience of a bad boyfriend. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. So this one might get you in trouble is another way to put it. Is that about right?
Which one? It might get you in trouble. Yeah. Be careful.
So you went to you mentioned college. You went to, I believe, Carolina school, Eastern Carolina, right?
Yeah, East Carolina is where I went for undergrad, and then for grad school I went to the University of North Carolina School of the Arts.
Yeah, my wife went there.
No way.
Yeah, Fighting Pickles, right?
The Fighting Pickles.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't know about your graduate, but yeah, my wife went there. She was she studied stage management before realizing she didn't want to be a stage manager. But left.
Okay.
But I love
I didn't know they had that as a major. That's awesome.
I mean, we're talking the 90s, so it may not be there anymore. But
yeah.
But so all right, so you went to the Fighting Pickles. What does a Fighting Pickle do? Like, how does this mascot?
Well, it's a big joke because we don't have there's no sports teams because it was a conservatory, the first public conservatory in North Carolina, and maybe in the world. Fact check that. But yeah, so the Fighting Pickles is just like, from what I understood it to be, it's just a big joke. Like, the Fighting Pickles, our mascot for what? Like, and I think the pickle, like, a lot of times they would have it holding one of those, like, what do you call these things?
The clapper, yeah.
The clapper, yeah.
Whatever it is, yeah.
I think it would be holding that and like have like one of those like caps on that they wear in Paris.
The graduation cap, yeah, the dunce cap.
Yeah. So
okay,
it's a funny thing, but they really like revamped their, I guess, logo marketing. Like, they used to have their colors were purple and green, and they had this really cool but outdated, like, it looked like it was from the 80s, like their sign when you pull up to the university. But now it's all very like modern, and the font is very modern. It's black and white. It's kind of their main logo now. So they've definitely changed. I really do like wish I could get some old merch. Like I gotta just keep checking Poshmark and eBay because I really want like an old sweatshirt because their new stuff it's nice, but it's so like modern looking, and I want like a throwback look.
Yeah, I'll check with Jacqueline, see if there's
Okay.
if she knows of any like hot pockets of fighting pickle merch.
Yeah.
I mean that could be a new thing. I mean that could be a part of your new wave. You're bringing back the old ways of the fighting pickle.
The old ways, right?
Maybe next time you're on stage, jamming, you got a T-shirt on. I mean, it could take off. You just never
It could
know.
take off. Yeah, it could. But yeah, I love the people over there. They're a great institution.
It's awesome. Well, let us now go to Armagnac. So this is made in France. This
Okay.
is Laubade, 1978.
Brandy.
It's brandy. It's made in an area called Gascony, and it is, this is basically. You're familiar with cognac. Well, this would be like the less known French brandy, and it's highly coveted by bourbon drinkers around the world.
Cognac is like Hennessy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so this would
Okay.
be an upgrade from Hennessy and things like that.
I may need to call someone in here to help me open this one.
So here's a little
It's on
technique for
tight.
it.
It's on tight.
Hit it on the desk a little bit. Do the lid. Hit the lid hit the lid on the a little harder. Don't break it, but okay. There you go. Now twist it.
Okay,
Did that work?
are you hitting it on the top of the lid or the side?
The side.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
I think my grip is good. All right. Okay, I got it.
By the way, maybe that should be a new part of the Miss America contest. Can you open this jar?
Can you open this jar because you need to be, you need the strength.
I mean, there are jars, that are so tight, like your hand will start cramping if you're doing it. Like so, I've learned a lot of techniques over the years to try and avoid the jar that won't open.
Yeah. I'm gonna remember that the next time I have a pickle jar.
The pickle.
Those are the hardest.
Those are fighting pickles. They don't want to leave the jar.
The fighting pickles. See? Okay, so I don't know. I know nothing about brandy.
So whiskey comes from grain, rum comes from molasses or sugar cane,
Sugarcane.
and brandy comes from grapes. So
Oh.
brandy is essentially distilled wine.
Okay. I feel like I can taste the like the wine or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, similar. Wow.
Yeah, this is an opera song. This has got to
I
be
like.
an opera song.
Yeah.
This is
What opera
beautiful.
song though? What opera song is it?
I can't tell you that I have a large encyclopedia of opera songs in my brain, so I will leave that one to you.
I think I say Sempre Libre. Anna Netrebko.
And that means freedom, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's from a Verdi opera.
Okay.
Sempre Libre. Da, 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 da. But yeah, it's a really fun song.
I like it.
Yeah.
So you've got this new EP out.
Free forever. Yes, I have a new EP out. That's right.
So how many songs are on it? Where is it available everywhere or?
It's 5 tracks. It's available everywhere that you listen to music. So this is it. I actually got some CDs made that.
Oh, are you wearing the same shirt? Is that the same outfit?
No, this actually isn't the same shirt. So this is a short sleeve.
Oh, that's a short sleeve one.
Similar.
Got it.
This is like a cotton, and this is like a satin. But yeah, so I'm actually selling some of those on my website as merch. I just like thought it would be fun to do some CDs. One day I'll do vinyls. Those are
I know
always
that's like crazy popular vinyl, right?
Vinyls are so popular right now. And it's hard to find a good manufacturer these days with COVID and everything. But yeah, so it's 5 tracks. It came out on September 17th. So last Friday or this past Friday, and it's out everywhere. And I'm so excited. It's like my little baby, and it's finally out. And it was supposed to be out in 2020, but COVID happened and couldn't get into a recording studio. And so, yeah, I ended up recording a lot of my demos at home during the pandemic. And then once things opened up again, I was able to go and work with the fabulous engineering team over at Bunker Studios in Brooklyn. So that was where I recorded most of the tracks, except for 2. One was a single that I had recorded in 2020 or at the end of 2019. And then the other was recorded actually in North Carolina in a Steinway piano gallery. So
Wow.
really cool, really, really different on that track. And that's just that's the 4th track, which is all piano, like solo piano piece.
That's
But there's
awesome.
some songs on there too, like lyric, like it's really an EP that blends the genres that I love. So there's classical and there's orchestral and there's chamber music, which is a piano piece. But then there's also like Runnin', which I talked about earlier, which is very jazzy and like sultry, and it's R&B really. And another track on there, and Shower Thoughts, which is R&B.
You're just a walking fan of music, you know? I mean, you love music.
Absolutely. And I didn't want to have to choose for
Yeah.
my first, this is my debut project. And I feel like everything, when you listen to it, it actually blends together in a way that you wouldn't even think that it would. Because like, how do you go from a classical orchestra piece to like an R&B piece, like immediately after each other too? It kind of just like, it does this thing where it just throws you off, but in a good way. So, yeah, I'm really excited for the project. And it's been, TikTok is what really, I think, has helped me grow my fan base. And, everyone on TikTok was just like so excited when it came out, because I had posted a little clip back in March or April of the Dallas Symphony Orchestra playing my orchestra piece when they premiered it. And it went like viral on TikTok, has over 3.5 million views.
Wow.
And so from that 1-minute clip, people were just like, we need more. And so I put it on my YouTube channel, and I put the 3-minute version on my YouTube channel because I wasn't allowed to post the whole 5 minutes with Dallas Symphony's recording because I don't own that recording.
Right.
So now that I have my own master, the whole 5-minute version is out. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Really excited.
So now you're obviously out of pageanting, and
Out of that, yeah.
How does your routine for preparing for pageantry differ from like the music business? Because it's a whole, the things you have to do in music are so different, right?
So different. Yeah, I think what's interesting was with the Miss America organization, one thing that I really appreciated about it and I loved so much was the structure that it provided me. I'm an artist, and I think as an artist, or maybe it's just my personality, I can be very it's hard sometimes to focus on just one thing. Like you're doing this, and especially as an artist, because there's so many things you have to focus on, especially as an independent artist. You have to focus first and foremost on your artistry, on your talent, practicing the piano, writing every day, perfecting your craft. But then there's also the business side of it, which has, hundreds of different components to it. For artists that are already like, an artist like Alicia Keys, for example, she has her publicist, she has her manager, she has an agent, she has probably 10 other people on her team. So as an independent artist, I'm doing a scaled down version of that, I guess, but I'm doing it pretty much all by myself with just a few people on my team. Like I have legal and I have a manager, but so there's so much that goes into it. And so it's a lot different coming from Miss America, where everything was like, hey, do this, do that, show up at this time, the competition's at this time, practice your talent. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds. Like everything is so spelled out for you, which I loved that. And it definitely gives you that discipline and that structure. But I've tried to apply that mindset of structure to my own life, my own career now, but it's so different because I don't have someone telling me, especially now that I'm like, when I was Miss America, I'm working for them technically, right? Like
Right.
I have a business manager, but they are an organization who I am an employee of. But now
Hmm.
that I'm an artist and I'm out on my own, I have a manager who's reporting to me.
Hmm.
You know, and even when I do sign with an agency, hopefully very soon, I think, and I feel like you are working with me. I'm not necessarily your employee, right? And
Hmm.
so it's a very different experience, and it's like the script has truly flipped.
Hmm.
So it's really, really been a learning experience, and I love being an entrepreneur. So it's something that I didn't go to school and get my MBA or anything, but I feel like there's just like a lot of like natural, I guess, natural abilities that I have that I kind of just try to like make the best decisions for me in my career. So
Well, and I will say this, like you were in probably one of the most critical, probably one of the most criticized, critical, having people be critical towards you in the pageantry circuit. There's probably nothing anybody can say or do to you that will come close to what you did in the pageant world. And you talk about that a little bit earlier about how it's, sometimes it's kind of controversial, but man, you all get chewed up and spit out like you're nothing. And if you come out on top, man, ain't nothing can
yeah,
touch you.
yeah, you have to have tough skin and be able to take criticism.
I mean, people
Most
are
of it's
mean.
constructive.
I mean,
Most of it's constructive, but
yeah.
it's not always. Sometimes it's people really do try to tear you down.
And there's all these reality shows out there that show the
Mhm.
parents behind some of them, and it's like that is crazy.
Yeah, I'm so glad that I didn't do pageants at a young age. I didn't start until I was like 22. So I really I thank God that I'm like did not have that experience, the toddlers and tiaras experience.
Yeah, and probably, you know, I mean, we should actually possibly look at it like we do football.
Mm.
There's this big movement of getting, kids to not play football until their brain is at a certain point, or tackle
Wow.
football anyway. You
Okay.
know, um, Emotionally, there's just so much on a kid, like it could really ruin them. So maybe you are actually the key to future success of pageantry, and like hold it off a little bit.
Hold it off. Yeah. I mean, yeah, all of that makeup and stuff when you're like 5 years old. My mom would barely put any makeup on me when I danced at a very young age. Um, but she would barely put makeup on me, and I think that's nice. Like you put your red lipstick on for that one day, that one recital of the year. But
Hmm.
after that, you wipe it off and it's back to like, nothing. Um, so it's something that also, if you're going to do it, there has to be discussions about it. What does it mean to wear makeup? Does it mean that without it you're not beautiful? Does it mean without makeup you're worthless? No, that's not what that means. So it's about also, if you're going to do those things, really talking to your children and developing that understanding so that as they're young, they can be seeing these things so they don't have to unlearn things later.
Yeah, and now that you're on the music side, um, that is a overly critical world as well. I know you're on the hunt. It sounds like for an agent, for an agency, and
Yeah.
you surround yourself with good people, you won't feel it. You'll be
Yeah,
kind of insulated a little bit. But
absolutely. It's
what?
like you don't want to surround yourself with yes men, but you
Yeah,
also don't want people that are always constantly critiquing you either. And when it's like it's not even necessary all the time. Yeah.
yeah, and I will say too that I said your star's bright. You're going places like this. This whole thing is just beginning for you. And
Yeah.
if I could just give you one piece of advice, it would just be always be you. This blend of genres you're doing, that's what the world needs out of Nia. Not to be pressured into
Oh,
doing your something else. And I know that
yeah.
happens in a music a lot.
Like
You
they
know.
want you to check a box or something. Yeah.
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 We're no longer in, five radio stations in a major market. You can do whatever you want.
You can. You can. The world of streaming is amazing. It
Yeah.
really, really is. And I think it's going to keep evolving. I
Yeah.
really do. Yeah.
Well, cheers to you. And I do have to ask you, what was your favorite of the things we tasted?
I think my favorite, oh gosh. Let me try the brandy one more time because I really liked the second one because I did like that sweetness, but there's
Hmm.
something about the brandy. Hold on. I don't know. I think it's the brandy because it has that, to me, it has a little tartness to it.
Hmm.
And we all know that I like tart things, like that citrus or that like sourness. Yeah.
Well, you picked what is easily a geek's favorite. So like you picked my favorite out of the bunch too. So
Oh,
yeah. So I'll say this. Let's grab your glass. We'll do a little virtual toast.
virtual
And so
toast.
great having you on. Tell everybody where they can find you on the socials, the YouTubes, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So the easiest way to find me and follow me everywhere is just my website, niaimani.com. All my socials are there. You can even find direct links to Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube Music, all of that right on the homepage. But my Instagram is Nia Imani Franklin, my full name. Twitter is Nia the Note, and TikTok is Nia Imani Franklin as well.
So go follow Nia everywhere. I'm telling you, listen to her music.
Yeah,
Check out her
you
old
won't regret it.
interviews.
You won't
Yeah,
regret it.
no, won't regret it at all. Check out her old interviews. I mean, and it's one of those things. I meet a lot of people, and I get a pretty good sense of when someone's genuine. And we even talked about it that night in Washington D.C. In that there is a preconception that a Miss America would not be as real and genuine as you are, and I'm telling you, folks, that's real, and I
Thank
I
you.
know you'll never lose that. So, cheers to you, Nia, and what is the beginning of a beautiful and brilliant career in music.
Thank you so much. You have to have me at the Derby next, so we
Absolutely.
can.
Get your hat
Yep,
ready.
I've never been, so
Oh, I'd love to host you.
cool, cool.
Absolutely. And the hat, I can't wait for this hat. That's going to be
It's
awesome.
gonna be epic. I come from the Black Baptist Church, so I know a lot about hats.
I imagine though you're going to have problems picking it out, right? You're going to have like 20 of them that you're like,
Oh, what should I do? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely.
See, it's pretty simple for us men, I
Mm,
mean, we have a couple of ways we can go, but
okay,
like, the hat, and you can only wear it once, and to the Derby, it's like a whole thing, you
whole
know.
thing.
It's
Yeah,
a whole
yeah.
thing, but yeah, we'll
I
get you
love
out
it.
here and have a good time and drink some more bourbon.
Drink some bourbon. Awesome.
Cheers, my friend.
Bye. Cheers.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Nia Imani Franklin as much as I did. I think she is absolutely awesome. I think this is going to be one of those interviews that in 20, 30 years I look back on and I'm like, wow, I got to interview Nia Imani Franklin. I think that's what that interview is going to be like. And, butchering a couple names aside, I had a wonderful time with her, and she's just absolutely amazing. Now it's time for, you ready for this? The Bourbon Mailbag. The Bourbon Mailbag. This week's idea comes from YouTube member Sean Dent, who wrote me a long time ago asking me what a good craft bourbon would be for the right money. See, the thing about craft bourbon is those distillers often really do have to mark their whiskey up, just to make a buck. So you'll see a lot of craft bourbons that are $90 to $150, and really, if you look at it from an economics perspective of what's on the shelf, they really shouldn't be that expensive. But they got to make a buck, and they don't have other things to drive revenue, especially now with tours being a little bit more difficult with COVID. So one craft bourbon I cannot recommend enough right now, and that's Chattanooga Whiskey's Bottled and Bond. This is not going to break the bank. It's usually between 40 and $60. It's really complex, really, really engaging from a flavor profile perspective. I love what they're doing. I think they're doing great stuff at Chattanooga Whiskey. I reviewed this very highly here on this YouTube channel, so you can search for that, or you can find it, in the description of my YouTube interview, my YouTube episode. Now, if you're listening to this on the audio side, all you got to do is head on over to YouTube and search for Chattanooga Whiskey Fred Minnick. But that's going to do it for this week's episode, everybody. Thank you so much for listening or watching on YouTube, however you do your podcasting. Make sure you give us a review, however you listen to us. It helps us. It helps with the algorithm overlords. Also, make sure that you're telling a friend. And if you haven't yet gotten a sticker, make sure you hit me up on fredminnick.com. Click that contact button. Hit us up and say, I want a sticker. We are going to make sure that you have stickers to put on your automobiles or wherever you want to put it. Just please do not use it in criminal activity. That's going to do it for this week, folks. Be safe out there. Remember, no licking handrails, no licking trash cans. And vodka sucks unless it's being used for hand sanitizer. Cheers, everybody.